people of Israel to go. Why? In the previous lessons, we had seen that they had feared that the children of Israel, because they were multiplying in the numbers, they might come they were military threat to them, that they might come and overthrow the government. Again, they had that fear that if they let the children of Israel go, then the cheap labor that they were enjoying, they were not going to get it. And therefore, yes, they were fearing, but at the same time, they did not want to go. And Pharaoh needed to get a persuasion, not only to get his attention, but also to change his mind. And this is now the attention that we are going to see during this week. And the first attention that we are going to see that is coming here, that are befalling the land of Egypt, that are befalling the land of Egypt, we are not talking about the people of Egypt per se, but we are talking about God Almighty versus the gods of that land. That is the small g. Remember, even Pharaoh himself was a god.
Yes.
He was a god.
Yes.
And therefore, it is a controversy between the living God, our Creator, and the small gods in Egypt. And we see God telling Moses to go and talk to Pharaoh, and then the first thing we are getting here is he is throwing that staff Moses' head, and it turns into a serpent. And Pharaoh summons his magicians. They are there.
Yes.
You know, all through this time, they are here.
Yes.
And they also perform their miracle again.
Yes.
And you see the serpent also comes around. And then what we see is Moses. Now that serpent that Moses had created swallows those other serpents. What are we getting here? We are seeing God showing his supremacy over the gods of Egypt. When Aaron's staff becomes a snake and ate all the other serpents before the king, the supremacy of the living God over Egyptian magic and sorcery was manifested. Not only was the emblem of Pharaoh's might conquered, but also Moses granted it in their Moses and Aaron granted it in their hands. The initial confrontation demonstrates God's power and lordship over Egypt. Moses, as God's representative, had great authority and power than did the God who was Pharaoh himself. And remember, even the crown that Moses was wearing, it had an emblem of a cobra, signifying the way they adored that serpent, the way they adored that God. And therefore, the context, the confrontation that we see here, it demonstrates God's power and God's lordship over the Egyptian gods. And it is also significant that the ancient Egyptians considered a snake as God. According to their myth, this serpent God had great power because he swallowed 7 cobras. Thus God communicated to Egyptians that he, not the serpent God, has sovereign power. There are two things that we are seeing here. God communicating to the people of Egypt that he is the supreme God and not the gods that they were believing in. Number two, the Hebrew people, the people of Israel, got an opportunity now to learn God more. They came to realize, so this is how powerful our God is, and therefore it was a learning session for both the Egyptians and both the Israelites. Brother Ishmael,
Yes.
we have seen how God had power over the gods of Egypt. But at the end of the day, still Pharaoh is hardened. He does not want to leave the people to go and worship God. What can you say about the heart that the Pharaoh had that was very hard to let the children of Israel go?
Thank you very much, Ella. Now, Pharaohs, when I just take a glimpse of what has just happened, God versus the Egyptian gods.
Yes.
And you have just said that Pharaoh himself was another god. So it's like in the land of Egypt, there were so many gods.
Yeah.
Yeah, and each god was, it was like each god was allocated a specific task.
Yeah.
And when Moses performed the miracle of the rod turning to a serpent, and the same miracles, I think Pharaoh himself also wanted to prove that is another god. God's Moses was doing. All the roads turned to a serpent. But there's one thing that was amazing, that the Aaron's rod, the serpent that turned into the rod that turned into a serpent from Aaron's and Moses swallowed all others from the magicians. Now it was like it was a battlefield to see who is who. Pharaoh's magician performed a miracle. Aaron and Moses also performed a miracle. But at long last, we saw that there's one power that is more severe than the other. Sovereign. The sovereignty of the battle that was being tested. Serpent. But the other serpent was swallowed. So Pharaoh saw himself as another important person, that he could also order the magician to perform a similar miracle. Now when you come to the book of Exodus, chapter 7, verse 3, verse 13 and 14, we are being told that Pharaoh's heart was ardent. God foresaw this and even told Moses that I will harden Pharaoh's heart. Not that God hardened Pharaoh's heart initially, but Pharaoh's had an hardened heart. So God was just giving a will to what Pharaoh wanted to. Because now, if you captive by Egyptians, but they were not the native of Egyptians. Now when God sent Moses to go and deliver them because of their sufferings that they were undergoing, Pharaoh in his wisdom said that now if these people leave, who will do this other duties? This was making Pharaoh to be reluctant to leave the Israelites to go. But now there's something that the writer of the lesson is telling us, that it is significant in the book of Exodus. On the 10 plagues, each of the first one, Pharaoh's heart was still adamant. Even though they were suffering, but he could not let the Israelites go, even after the suffering of the plagues that they were encountering. So Pharaoh himself, we are being told, was an agent of hardening. So it was not God who made the heart of Pharaoh to be adamant, but Pharaoh himself was, how do we call it? There's an English word called adandide. Yani mtu mwenye asikii, hata ukimwambia nini asikii. Yeah. So Pharaoh's, it was like God was just initiating his own art, the Pharaoh's art of hardening. So it was not God who hardens Pharaoh's heart, but it was God allowing Pharaoh's heart, according to his will, to be hardened. Yes.
Thank you so much. You know, Pharaoh is given an opportunity. You know, he has already seen what is happening. And the writer was saying that 9 times in the book of Exodus, we see Pharaoh being hardened in his own heart. And there are some of the other places, as we are going to see, that God himself now gives in to allows him to continue with the kind of hardening that he had. Now, in this particular episode of Pharaoh being hardened, what do you have to say, Brother Shali?
Thank you very much, Kiongozi, for that wonderful foundation. Um, Pharaoh was given a free will
Yes.
of choice. You know, God is a God of free choice.
Yes.
He gives Pharaoh the opportunity to let the Israelites out of Egypt, but he hardened his heart.
Yes.
And God is not trying to get the attention of Pharaoh. He's just putting pressure on Pharaoh to let Israelites out of Egypt. And I was reading on the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30 verse 19 that talks about that I have given you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose your life.
Yes.
You know, Pharaoh had an opportunity to respond to the God's warning of all these things that God has shown him, that if you don't do this, I'll do this to you. But Pharaoh constantly choose resistance over repentance. I want to say this, viewers, that in our lives, God gives us chance
Yes.
to change our lives. But if you harden, He has so many mechanisms to make even your life harder. But He gives you time to choose. And that's why He tells you, no, look, if you don't do this, this will come. God is the God who gives you warning. If you are wise enough, you will avoid it and you will be saved. That's what I can say about that.
That is very powerful. That
give you another chance, then you backslide again. Yes.
Thank you, Brother Shali. Do you think Pharaoh had enough evidence to allow the children of Israel to go as pertains to these plagues that we are talking about on this day of Wednesday?
Thank you, Malimu. Pharaoh had a reason and, in fact, evidence to let Israelites to move. Look at the plagues. Look at the calamities that were facing the Egyptians.
Yes.
The plagues of frogs turning water into blood. All those things. It shows you exactly that God wants you to do something. And actually, Pharaoh was trying to be so just stubborn. And allow me just, Mwalimu, to add on to quote a few verses in short.
Yes.
When you read on Exodus, you just want to look at Pharaoh. Why was he doing this, and how was he responding to these plagues?
Yes.
Was he giving in? Was it temporary or was it permanent? Exodus 8 verse 28. When you read that book, actually you see that Pharaoh was not willing to allow them to worship according to God's parameters.
Yes.
Are we setting parameters to what's the word of God? That's what Pharaoh was doing. That he set parameters. He said, go and worship just within.
Yeah.
Don't go far away, as you intercede also for me.
Mm.
Also, another thing I want to talk is the same book, the same book. There's something that I saw Pharaoh doing, that he only wants these people to worship according to his parameters.
Yes.
Why was he doing that? He was afraid. He was afraid of what? Maybe if they go, they are planning to overthrow the government.
Yeah, to come back.
Trying to put across viewers is that in our lives, let us obey God. If we disobey God, there are always consequences, and that we can never be prosper by ignoring God's parameters of worship.
Yes.
When that lessons, when I read towards the end of that day, talking about the persecuting his own people, because when you look at the livestock of the Egyptians were dying, these other for the Israelites were not dying. What is that? This guy was that temporarily disobeying God, and he knows that one day this thing will come to an end. The last lesson I want to say is that when we disobey God, the condition of our heart towards God becomes cruel.
Yes.
Nothing you can do.
Thank you so much.
Before we move far,
Yes.
we found that the first three plagues fell both on Egyptian and Israelites.
Yes.
Why were the Israelites not spared in the first three?
You, as we continue to look at this, remember when we were talking, when I was doing the introduction part of it, I said that it was a time for the Israelites. He wanted to teach the people of Egypt that God is supreme.
Yes.
And at the same time, it was an opportunity for the children of Israel to know God. Remember, God had talked to Moses and he had persuaded them. And remember, they reached the time when they had started to question the how God was handling their matter.
Yes.
And therefore, they had not yet fully known and understood how God operates.
Yes.
That is as to my thinking.
Brother Sari, we have been told that the first three plagues fell both to Egyptians and Israelites. Why?
Come up again.
The first three plagues
Yes.
fell both, attacked, the calamities was both for the Israelites and the Egyptians.
Thank you. This the first three plagues. Actually, God wants us to show the gods of Egypt that they are powerless.
Yes.
Secondly, on the side of it, they also want to teach Israelites that God, that who their God is powerful than any other gods of Egypt.
Yes.
Yeah, that was actually because the first plague that was first plague say that it attacked both.
Yes.
One, as I said, proving to the Israelites that is the only God who can rescue anyone in trouble.
Yes.
Secondly, on the Egyptians,
Yes.
they want to show all those goddesses of Egypt that they are powerless
Yes.
over any other thing.
Yes.
And also to show them that it is God who created, in fact, it's God who created them. They are just trying to oppose God and setting parameters.
The reason as to why I've brought that question, I don't know whether you once had some incident where you have been reported that you did some mistake, and your parent accompany you to the schools or to the head teacher's office. Then your parent beat you thoroughly, cane you thoroughly before the principal or the deputy or before the teachers, until even the teachers themselves are the ones who is now, they are sympathizing with you that now it is enough. They are now telling your parents it's enough. How will the teacher view the parent's action? They will say, now this parent is someone who is upright. It does not condone mistake, neither does it condone laziness or any other dilly-dallying. So according to me, God, before even if he could have only brought calamities to the Egyptians, there could have been some form of kujigamba in the side of the Israelites. They could have had another hardening scenario, just like Pharaoh. So God wanted to remove the motive of the deities, the gods of the Egyptians, first in the mind of the Israelites, that in the entire world there is only one God who is supreme, leave alone these gods you are seeing here in Egypt. Yes. So the three plague was to raise in that scenario that there was no any other supreme God. Then it's when God brought the rest of the plague to the Egyptian to tell the Israelites that you are chosen, so don't behave as these people if you are delivered. Yes.
Thank you. Even as Brother Shali prepares to tell us why the plagues of hail, locust, and darkness, why they are successful in getting Pharaoh to change his mind, allow me to comment of boils. You know, even those sorcerers,
Yes.
were
They were
affected.
attacked.
they were
They acknowledge.
affected by
They
this
acknowledge.
plague. In fact,
That's
they were not able even to present themselves before Pharaoh.
yes.
This time round, it was Pharaoh himself.
Yes.
These people were not there because even themselves, they were already, they had a problem. What what I wanted to get from this particular, or the scenario, is that we are told that it was not it was Pharaoh's problem wasn't intellectual. It was not an intellectual problem. Pharaoh had enough rational evidence to make the right choice. It happened, and therefore he had enough rational evidence choice. Instead, it was a problem of his heart.
Yes.
His heart was hard.
Yes.
Many times, viewers, we have
And on the sides of where Israelites reside, those things were going normal. What are we being done there? God is the only one who created them, that I'm the one who can change things within the shortest time possible when I decide. But I give you this so that you can learn from what I say. Locust, let us just take in general that all these things are happening because of Pharaoh. Pharaoh is trying to restrict the Israelites not to go to their land, as God has instructed Aaron and Moses to do so. All these things comes in attacking. This now is now concentrating on the sides of Pharaoh's people, showing them, indeed, I have warned you so many times. Now I want to